know that Crusades are religious wars most commonly associated with the struggle between Christians and the Muslims. There was a total of 9 Crusades, but today we'll be studying the first 4. The First Crusade, from 1096 to 1099. You see, the First Crusade was caused by the Muslim taking over Jerusalem. This made the Christians very angry because Jerusalem was, of course, the Holy Land.
The West must march to the defense of the East. All should go, rich and poor alike. The Franks must stop the internal wars and squabbles. Let them go instead against the infidel Turks and fight a righteous war. God wills it.
The First Crusade is often known as the Peasants' Crusade because the words of Peter the Hermit first reached poor people and women. From then, Walter the Penniless led 80,000 untrained soldiers into Constantinople, where many died of malnutrition and starvation. Although the peasants ultimately failed because they were untrained and no match for the Muslims, this did give a chance for the Franks of France to unite and form a real army capable of beating the Muslims. Although thousands died, I guess you could say that the Christians were successful because they sacked Jerusalem and ultimately beat the Muslims. Now on to the Second Crusade from 1147 to 1149. You see, the First Crusade was really bad for the Muslims because they were disunified and no match for the Christian army. However, once they were able to unite, they were a very powerful enemy and strong enough to beat the Christians. And once they took the country of Edessa, this made the Christians mad because Edessa was an important port. The Second Crusade is also well known for giving rise to famous military orders such as the Hospitallers and Templars, otherwise known as the White and Black Knights. This time period also developed the fundamental basis for the other religious orders, such as the Religious and Teutonic Knights. Among the influential figures of the Second Crusade were King Louis VII of France and Conrad II of Germany. However, the most influential was Saint Bernard the Monk.
O ye who listen to me, hasten then to appease the anger of heaven, but no longer implore. The din of arms, the dangers, the labors, the fatigues of war are the penances that God now imposes upon you. Hasten then to expiate your sins by victories over the infidels.
Overall, the Second Crusade was a Christian fail because the two kings took their armies first to Asia Minor where they got their butts kicked, and then they took them to Damascus where yet again they were destroyed. Now on to the Third Crusade from 1189 to 1192. The main reason there was a Third Crusade is because Egypt had a new leader, Saladin, who accomplished to unite all the Muslims under Syria. Saladin took his army and took over Jerusalem, which yet again made the Christians very upset. The Third Crusade was mostly characterized by the fact that Saladin and the Muslims were up against King Richard Lionheart of England, King Philip Augustus of France, and King Frederick Barbarossa from Germany. However, King Frederick soon died, which made most of the Germans drop out of the war. After Frederick's death, King Richard of England and Philip of France joined forces to take on the remaining Muslims. With an army of about 600,000 men, the two kings attacked the Muslim city of Acre in 1191. However, soon after, the French king dropped out, leaving Richard as the only nation still in the war. Although this was a war, King Saladin of Egypt and King Richard of England were actually good friends and had respect towards each other. This eventually led them to come up with a truce. In this truce, King Saladin promised to allow any Christian the right to come in and out of Jerusalem without a fee. So I guess the Third Crusade was actually a tie. Now on to the Fourth Major Crusade, which was from 1202 to 1261. Why was there a Fourth Crusade, you might ask? Well, actually, it was all thanks to this guy right here, Pope Innocent III, who wanted to rouse the Christian spirits up against the Muslims once again. However, this crusade was different from the second and third because there was no kings involved. However, he did manage to rouse many of the knights, mostly French. You see, here's where it gets tricky because first the Crusaders wanted to go into Egypt. However, they decided in settling in Venice because they could establish control of the Mediterranean. The Venetians agreed as long as they take out their rivals in Zara and then take out Constantinople so that Venice would have more power. In the end, all the land was split up, and Constantinople was left weaker than ever. As you can see, it was not even a religious war, more like a political adventure that was all about the money. This wraps up the final major crusade. However, there was 5 more afterwards. Tune in next time. Peace.
I've been trying to do it right. I've been living a lonely life. I've been sleeping here instead. I've been sleeping in my bed. Sleeping in my bed.